it's Denise Eckert coming on here because I love sharing different ideas, techniques, and strategies to help you lower your stress in your daily life. And today I've got an amazing guest. It's Julie Fitzpatrick, and she's a multi-award winning hypnotherapist and coach. She's a podcast host, speaker, and #1 international best-selling author. She's the founder of Side Therapy and Coaching, and now she works with people who feel stuck in cycles of stress, overwhelm, or anxiety, especially those who've tried traditional therapies and felt like they weren't getting anywhere. She uses a unique transformative approach that helps her clients break through those barriers quickly so they can start feeling calm, confident, and in control of their lives again. Sounds wonderful. Welcome, Julie.
Thank you. It does sound wonderful when you hear it like that, doesn't it?
It does. Now, Julie, what inspired you to do this type of work?
So I spent, in the end, 35 years working in the corporate world. And in August 2020, in the middle of the pandemic, thank you very much, I got made redundant. So I decided that, I decided a long time ago that I was done with that world. And at that point, I was 52, and I was like, do you know what? I think I've done my fair share of this kind of work. And I'd always loved helping people. And about 10 years prior to that, I did do 4 years of training to be a talking therapist, but I never did it. I did it as a volunteer, but I never followed up with it with a career, mainly because I was caught up in the financial world of earning money, really. And the thought of not earning money outweighed helping people at the time. But when I got made redundant, it was like, no, this is not my calling. This is not what I'm meant to be doing. I should be serving and healing people. So that's when I started on my transformational journey. And then I retrained and did all these wonderful things, NLP, rapid transformational therapy, hypnotherapy. And then it was all about finding your niche. And I decided that actually I was a woman in the prime of my life at the time. So that was my niche to start with. But then I flipped because I had a lot of men and a lot of women. And actually, when I went back and checked all the files, and what is the most common thing here? And everyone, without fail, said they felt stressed. They felt overwhelmed. And obviously, it's that not working with stress, it's that physical knock-on effect it has on people's bodies as well that most people are not aware of. And that's where it all began, really, because I lived my life in my head.
Yeah. Now, when we talk about stress and overwhelm, what are some of the first steps that we can do to lower that?
One of the main things I always teach my clients is to change the breathing. Now, there's loads of different breathing techniques out there, isn't there? But one of the things that I got trained on was one called coherent breathing. And that's basically breathing in for the count of 6 and out for the count of 6, but through your nose. But sometimes when you first do it, it can feel a little bit, because you're not used to. It's a silly thing to say that we don't know how to breathe, but we don't, do we? Because we don't sit upright, we're not breathing out of our diaphragm properly. And as soon as we start consciously thinking about our breathing, shall we say, so if you're in an anxiety mode or a panic mode or feeling really stressed, if one thing you can remember, and that is to change your breathing, that will make a difference. And as soon as you start calming your mind, because the messages that go up to your brain tell you to be calm, and within about 2 or 3 rounds of doing some deep breathing, instantly you'll feel that change in your body and you'll feel calmer. And then you can start focusing on what's going on in your head, and that's when the monkey mind starts, isn't it? And start analysing the thought that comes in and go, hang on, what is it I'm thinking about right now? Why am I panicking about that? And then talk to yourself like you're in a second person and see if you can unravel that thought and feeling and then let it go. So being in that calm moment and being present, you can take notice of what's going on, basically, because when we're in that go, we're not listening to ourselves, are we? We're not listening to our body. We're just on this cycle. So it's about stopping, engaging the breathing, and then engage this and just calm down a little bit and go, hang on, let's just be present for a moment and just relax into our body, really. That wasn't a quick answer, was it? Sorry.
No, that's fine. No, that's very important. One of the biggest things I tell people to do once they're feeling the stress is create that awareness that you are in stress and either stop, pause, whatever you want to call it. You've got to switch things up, because if you continue down the stress road, as we get frustrated, we get agitated, we start biting people's heads off. we start making mistakes if we continue doing our work.
Mhm.
Now, I've got a question for you, and it was funny because someone asked me in social media. So once you do this stop or this pause, how do you come back to your day?
You're only really doing it for a short period of time, aren't you? It's to shock your body into doing something different, changing your state, really. So anyone that's like done speaking or anything like that, it's about really stopping, calming yourself down, and starting again. And it's yeah, that could take seconds, that could take 5 minutes. It might mean you need to go for a walk. It might mean you just need to take a shower, you need to jump up and down and dance or sing or laugh or smile. But once you've done that, after a few minutes, say 5 minutes, then you can get back into your day if you want to. Or you might choose to go, do you know what? My day's ended now. I'm going to go and chill, or I'm going to go and do something nice for myself. But that's how I'll say you don't have to let it ruin what's going on. This is really funny, actually, because in one of my group programs last night, we were talking about this very topic. And one of my attendees, actually, she said, yeah, but what you've got to remember is if you're having a terrible moment in your life at that moment, it doesn't have to take over the whole of your day. And it's actually quite true, isn't it? If you find yourself, I don't know, at lunchtime thinking, oh my God, snap out of it, do your breathing, do your dancing, whatever it is you're going to do, and go, I'm not going to let it ruin the rest of my day. So you can change your day or the way you're feeling about your day straight away.
And I love that because actually one of my suggestions is if your day starts to spiral out of control, restart your day. Just restart it. And
Exactly, restart it. Yeah.
yeah.
And it's like when someone's on a diet, isn't it? And they go, oh, I've been really rubbish for 3 days. I might as well be rubbish for the rest of the week because I'll be. No, you just acknowledge that you've been rubbish and you get back on it. You don't have to sabotage the rest of the week, do you? Just because you were feeling a bit crap. It just took you a little bit longer to realise that you were being bad and you realised that you needed to calm yourself or whatever. But just as soon as you've acknowledged it, but as you said, it's having that conscious awareness that you need to know it's going on. And I think a lot of people don't have that because they're just living in their world and it's just rolling on and they don't stop. And I get that because that was me. And that is a lot of people, isn't it?
Yeah, that was me too. And then you start making mistakes. And once you do finally come out of the stress, then you got to go fix all these mistakes. So it's not even just the moment. It can continue the day, it can continue the next day because now you've got
Mm.
to fix all the mistakes you've made. And that's the thing. We don't realize the power of just stepping back.
No, absolutely. I totally agree with that. And I don't know about you, but when now we know what we know, obviously life is different for us. But when I hear myself talking to other people and people spouting stuff off, I sometimes laugh at myself because I think, who is this woman? Who am I? What's going on? Because I don't recognize myself sometimes. Because who was this woman only a few years ago who was getting up every morning at stupid o'clock, getting on the train, doing that whole thing on the 9 to 5 life. And now I get to, sometimes I have really busy days, but that's my fault if I've done that because that's me overfilling my calendar. But I get to choose what I put in my calendar. But I choose in the morning to take time out for myself. I don't have any clients or anything like that first thing. That's my time. I get up, I do my exercise, I do my meditation, I do my journaling, and then I get on with my day. Whereas not everybody's as lucky as that. I get that. When I was working in the corporate world, I'd be up leaving really early anyway. So to actually get up and do all that, I probably wouldn't be worth me going to bed at night. So it is difficult, but it's about managing your day, isn't it? Where you can take that time out, even if it is only half an hour, but take that time, take that lunch break. That's one of my things I keep going on about as well with my clients. In fact, I've just started a weekly live show, which is at a Tuesday lunchtime in the UK. And one of those reasons was, come on, come and spend an hour, at least 1 hour a week, at least. Come to the show, spend time with some other people, but we do a little bit of grounding. It's called Ground Learn and Connect. Do a little bit of grounding. Then I do some education and sometimes I have guests on. And then we do a little meditation or something like that so that we can end it on and then they can go and get on with their busy day. And it's about taking time out for ourselves, isn't it, is the key.
What I love about it too, and you're regrouping. And
Mm,
sometimes when you're doing a task and it's not resonating with you, that's causing stress. If I'm doing accounting one day and I'm just not in the mood for accounting, and I'm forcing myself to do this project that it's not going to work today. And when we step back for our pause and we do something relaxation practice quickly, then we can turn around and go, okay, what am I going to do next? What
mm,
is not resonating with me is going to be put onto another time. And even when we work at other jobs in corporate or if we're self-employed, pick something that you feel like doing and that resonates with you at that moment. And I
mm,
always say put things into bite-sized pieces so that you can do chunk, take a break, do chunk, take a break. Because
mm,
a lot of times we overwhelm ourselves with the size of our projects. Now, what are
mm.
your thoughts on that?
I totally agree with you. And I've also got a group program actually, which is all about getting people to go back to basics, getting you from feeling stressed and lacking in confidence to finding your inner peace, right? And one of the whole sections I've got is all about time poor to time, taking time out for ourselves, right? Being poor of time to time abundance. And one of the sections I do in there is all about using the Pomodoro method, actually, which is similar to what you just said there, but there's just a technique called Pomodoro. If you Google it, I think they use 20 minutes and then 5 or 10 minutes break. But like you say, setting, because stress is actually good sometimes, isn't it? We need a little bit of stress in our lives, otherwise we'll get nothing done. So we need that motivation, we need that deadline. So you do need a little bit of stress, and that's good. So by doing bite-sized pieces, it's that how do you eat an elephant one bite at a time, isn't it? Right? It's breaking it down into small chunks, but also setting yourself time limits. You can set the time limit to whatever you want, but if you want to have 20 minutes of like solid concentration, and when the alarm goes off, then you get 5 minutes break, do it again. And then you get more done because you're more in the flow. And when you're in the flow, time is limitless. It's when we are procrastinating, self-sabotaging, and all that good stuff, then it takes a long time to do. But the other tip I would also give people is when you're writing that list, don't make it too big. Only have 4 or 5 things on it, because otherwise that's overwhelming in itself. But actually, do the job you least want to do first. Get that one done, and then you feel so much better, because what we end up doing is we find, oh, that's a nice quick one. And it's nice to do quick wins, don't get me wrong, because you can tick them off. But actually, was that the most important thing you needed to do today? And that's it. It's look at the list that you need to do today, put them in a priority order. Don't avoid doing the worst one. Do that first. And then you have that feeling of, oh my God, I've got that job done. And then you can feel proud of yourself.
Absolutely. And you talk about working in flow. Can you explain what flow is for people that don't know what that is?
So if you think about time, everyone's got the same amount of time, right? We've all got, doesn't matter where you are in the world, you've still got 24 hours in a day. But how we utilize that time is an individual thing. So when we're in flow, it means that we're really focused and we're really hopefully enjoying what we're doing. If you watch children play, for example, they've got no concept of time, have they? Because they're just playing together, doing their doctors and nurses or dolls or playing with their cars. They're just so in flow. They're just using their imagination. They're just focused. And you can't get them out of that in that moment in time. They're in flow. There's no limit to their time. And I think it was Einstein said that if you put a man on a hot stove for a minute, that minute will last forever. But if he's in the company of a beautiful woman for a minute, that'd be no time at all, wouldn't it? So that time will be the same, but it depends what you're doing with it. I might have said that wrong, but it's something like that. But if you're being burnt, that minute for a minute is going to last forever, isn't it? But if you're doing something that you really love, it's no time at all. 10 minutes is no time at all. So being in flow means being focused, being dedicated to that time that you're doing it and not thinking about the time and just being in it, being in the flow. That's how I see it anyway. I don't know if that's how you see it.
Yeah, it is. And the only thing is that I want to add to it is that when we do work in flow and we're all concentrated, when we start coming out of the flow and we start feeling tired from that concentration for that period of time, that's when we need to create that awareness to take that pause. Because we're not in flow anymore, and then we slide into stress.
Yeah, and then sometimes, and this is where being in the present moment really helps, right? So when we're in that situation, and I don't know, say you're trying to write off for a job application, say, and you're looking at it and you're like, oh God, I don't know what to say. And it doesn't matter how many times you look at it and read that question, you've just got no idea, and it's just like stressing you out even more. So if you just go, look, I'm not getting anywhere with this at this moment in time, I'm going to stop. Go and do something else, whether it doesn't necessarily mean it's something you're going to enjoy, but even just go and distract yourself, then come back to it and go, now I'm going to set my timer for 20 minutes and I'm going to be very decisive on this. And I'm not going to stop until I get that paragraph done, and get yourself in that mode. Because when you sit there in the present moment as well, when you think about something else, it will come to you. When your mind's all distracted and all over the place, you can't think. So once you go away, either do something else or do nothing and just sit there and just be present, then it will just flow. It will just come out of you.
Yeah, so true. Now, I understand you have a free quiz and an audio for the audience today. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, sure. Like I said, when I started changing my niche to stress, one of the, well, no, let me backtrack actually. When I work with my clients, I give them recordings anyway. That's part of the process when I work with them. We go deep dive and find out the root cause. And then I give them a recording that they listen to afterwards. My clients always loved them. They are bespoke, those ones, and it's all very relevant to them. But what they love about it is that it just makes them instantly feel calm and relaxed. So I thought, well, okay, I'm going to start creating some more general ones that would like work for everybody. So I've got quite a few now in my repertoire. But one of the ones I wanted to create really was just, I think it's about 15 minutes long. It's not super long, but it just gives you that opportunity just to stop, listen to the audio, and instantly you'll just feel calmer. Now, I'm still debating whether this is a compliment or an insult, but most people say when they listen to my audios, they go, oh, Julie, listening to your voice just sends me to sleep. I think it's a bit of both, but yeah. So what I did, I just created a very quick quiz. One of the things when I was doing my research, it was, do people actually know they're stressed? Do they actually know what stress is, right? Because if you've always been like it, and that's probably learned behavior anyway, maybe you don't even realize you are. So there's just a few simple questions. You don't have to do the quiz if you don't want to, but it's just to see whether you go, yeah, I'm a bit stressed. But then listen to the audio anyway, it doesn't matter. So that's what I say to people. There's a quiz there if you just want to, out of curiosity, to see if you are stressed. Do it, don't do it, but do listen to the audio, and then listen to it every day for a couple of weeks and see if it changes you. And you can, if you have trouble sleeping, put it on when you go to bed. If you want to listen to it in the morning, then listen to it in the morning. You can listen to it anytime. And if you fall asleep, it doesn't matter because it's still going in. It's still going into your subconscious mind because your subconscious mind's always listening.
So it sounds more like a hypnotherapy slash meditation than.
Yeah, it's hypnotherapy is a little bit different to meditation in the sense that quite often with the hypnotherapy, you might be telling your brain to do something different. But so it depends what's in the meditation. Some meditation is more a little bit guided, isn't it? And some of mine are just guided, and some are a little bit more, come on, let's just go a little bit deeper. But yeah, they're all about being in a trance, being in a relaxed state, and just taking that time out for yourself really is the key to it.
Absolutely. Now we're going to wrap this up. So, what are your final words of wisdom for the audience today?
Oh, that's a good question. Don't do what I did and wait until you're in your 50s before you start working on yourself. I wish I knew back in the day what I know now about we need to understand who we are, uncover our limiting beliefs and learnt behaviours, and then we don't have to live in this constant stress state, anxious state, lack of confidence state, physical conditions as well, because it's all those physical conditions that are as a result of not understanding what's going on within us, and knowing the biggest tip as well is knowing that our mind and body is connected. I didn't get it. We all hear it, but it is. And you can't pull the wool over your eyes of your subconscious mind, unfortunately. You can try, but you can't. Subconscious will always win.
Yeah. So true. Thank you so much, Julie. So wherever you're watching and listening this, I will have Julie's information. And if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out and ask your questions to Julie. Thank you so much. Great information. And it was a question that, yeah, that's been brought up to my attention a couple times, that what do we do after the pause is really important.
Thank you for having me. I've really enjoyed it. Thank you.
Giving you a gentle reminder to slow down and enjoy life. And I'll see you in the next episode.